Alright, so now that you've figured out what your 95% confidence intervals are, and that gives you an idea of basically how reliable is your data, now we're going to figure out if the effect that we're seeing here is actually a big effect or not, using the Cohen's d. So that's on page 39 if you want to read and follow along with the equation. But again, we're going to take advantage of the calculations that this can do for you. So here's our Cohen's d. So we're going to do an absolute value sign on front. So that's going to be the absolute value. So it's ABS. And now we're actually going to have it calculate for us. So what we're looking at here is the difference between the two means to start. It doesn't really matter which order you do it because it's going to calculate it as the absolute value. Now we need to divide by, and this next part is kind of complex, so definitely keep track of where your parentheses are. So we need to have the sum of our variances divided by 2 and the square root. So we're going to throw a couple of parentheses there. The top part here is our variances. That's what the s squared is. Don't forget, variance is s squared. Then we need to divide that by 2. And then we need the square root of that. So when in doubt, what you can always do is check and say, okay, I'm adding these two together inside that parentheses. Great. Then I'm dividing that by 2. And only then am I taking the square root. All right, so it calculated a Cohen's d here of 0.347. So what does that mean? Well, if you look again at page 39, an effect size that's around 0.2 is a very small effect. 0.5 is a medium effect. So down here we're seeing a pretty small effect. So we wouldn't be super excited about this. It's a small effect, and that's fine. So I want you to go ahead, go calculate your Cohen's d for the output per colony, those pounds per colony, and see what you get for a Cohen's d value.